Good evening, everybody. Beautiful day here in Watson Lake. April 5th. Seems like I've been away for a while. It's nice to be back. Glad you guys are happy to have me back. That's great. Thank you. Tonight is a committee of the whole meeting for April 5th, 2022. We don't have any amendments for the agenda, or do we?
Correspondence from David Udena.
Chief Schilling.
Yes.
Sorry, of course, there is one amendment, so it's correspondence from Chief Schilling. Under correspondence. So if I could please have a motion to adopt the agenda as amended, please.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Slager, and thank you, Councillor Hanchar. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Can I please have a motion to adopt the minutes from the regular meeting of March 22nd, 2022?
A motion to adopt the minutes from March 22nd, 2022.
Thank you, Councillor Burtis.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Hanchar. Any comments?
Yes. So page 3, under proclamation vaccine mandate conversation, the minutes say Councillor Hanchar does not agree that the COVID pandemic is over and is still affecting many people. I believe with the conversation we were having at the time was around the fact that the government imposed vaccine mandate was scheduled to be lifted for Yukon government employees as of April 4th, and that a proclamation or such like it may be a moot point since the mandates were quote unquote over. So what I said was that I disagreed with the comment that the mandates are over because there's still a lot of people outside of the YG employee base who are affected still in a variety of different scenarios who are still unable to return to work due to the vaccine mandates.
Thank you for the clarification. Any more comments? Questions? All in favor? All right, carried. Okay, next on the list, number 3, motion to pay the open payables in the amount of $228,013.40.
Make a motion to pay the open payables.
Thank you, Councillor Hanchar.
I'll second.
Thank you, Councillor Burtis. Any questions?
Union Tractor.
I have a few.
Sorry, you said Union Tractor? That would be Greater Blades, I believe. Yes.
I feel like this is probably a lot of lottery stuff maybe, but I was just curious about 60310 and then 603171819. It's all the nonprofits in town basically.
603.
10.
Sorry.
Gymnastics.
Yeah, 60310, that is the
Lotteries.
I thought it was lotteries,
it's
yeah.
lotteries.
And then the other ones are like outdoor bonspiel, ski club, minor hockey. I think those are all.
Those are all the.
Right, lotteries,
Approved by
okay.
council, yes.
And 60313, I was just curious, traffic systems.
13, those are traffic, those are signage for like the morning signs, so.
In the community though, or on the highway?
No, there are in town,
In town, okay.
so that some of them are the construction, like the equipment working,
Mhm.
some were for playgrounds. Some were trail signs and some were the 15-meter back from equipment while working. So all those type of signs.
And then my last comment was about the Northwest Tel bills. There are 5 on there.
Yep.
I guess I didn't look at the past one to really compare this, so forgive me if this is normal, but I'm assuming that's for internet and phones, but there's 5 different bills on there to the tune of about $5,000 for the entire month. So is
Correct,
that's how much it costs?
yes,
Okay.
and that's with us streamlining.
Is that for like fiber? Fiber internet?
Fiber, the one for 2,222, I believe. No, sorry, it must be the other one. No, that's the one. That one is for the fiber in this building and then phone system. And then there's the rec center. We have every different area because of internet bills that drives that up. And we're trying to cut it back. Actually, there'll be 2 internet services that will be coming off that now with, there actually be 3 internet services. Once we move into the new building, will be disconnected. So that's a saving about $600 a month on those bills.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, the phone and internet is extremely high.
Yeah, and my last one was 60328. It was to community services for about 21,000 something, I think.
21,547.
21,47. That is the cost for doing the property assessment for the year. Them coming in and doing the tax assessment role. Yes,
Okay,
that's our yearly cost.
well, that was all for me.
We
Sorry.
pay for that. But okay,
What's our taxes are a role, right?
I know.
Yeah, we have to hire somebody.
Yeah, okay.
I noticed the golf association isn't on there.
Yes, that is correct.
What's the story there?
Well, because of the fact that nobody from the Gulf Association was willing to put their own money forward to make the purchases.
So they couldn't get reimbursed.
Nobody wanted to put their own money forward to be reimbursed. So I worked with the Gulf Association and authorized the payment of a check directly to the supplier from the town once we had received the invoices. So we were paying exactly what was approved. So we circumvented it because of the fact that nobody from their association or their association would put the money forward.
Well, it was decent of us to find a solution there, I think.
Well, we've done it for other organizations in the past, your worship, where we've either put it on the town credit card or paid. Unfortunately, where they were buying their purchases would not accept a credit card.
Interesting.
But yeah, no, it really put us in a bad spot because, we're reaching out to do that on their behalf when they requested the funding in the first place.
Is it this wholesaler at the top here?
No, that is shelving brackets for the new municipal services building.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember the name off the top of my head. That one, actually, I'll probably recognize it. We'll scroll through there. It's not on here, so it'll be on the next payables.
Okay. Okay, any more questions?
No, thanks.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Carried. All right, next on our agenda, we have Marta and Lawrence. Sorry, I can't even see the last name.
It's Bakelar.
Bakelar, welcome from the infrastructure branch to do a presentation on our upcoming project. Hello, welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Lawrence will be doing the presentation. He's the project manager with WSP. So he'll be the lead for design throughout the full phasing implementation of the project. And for those who don't know me, I'm Marta with IG. So I'll let Lawrence go. And then if you have any questions, just let us know. Thanks.
Sounds great. Thanks, Marta.
Yeah, thanks, Marta. So yeah, I'm Lawrence Bakelar. I'm the project manager from WSP in Whitehorse. It's an engineering company. And I'll be helping out with or managing the project in Watson Lake over the next decade almost. So the purpose of this presentation today is just to go over the overall plan for the next decade of construction stages and the scheduling. So I'm just trying to share my screen right now. Let me know if you can see that. Okay.
Not yet. No.
Yeah.
There we go.
No, I can't.
Perfect. My font got mixed up. Wasn't like that before. Okay. So So this is just a general overview of the overall system. Most of the water and sewer system was constructed and installed in the 70s and 80s, as you might know. In 2012, Carewood Lytle completed a series of small water and sewer spot repairs. They addressed the water and sewer pipes that were in the worst condition, but an overall improvement project has not really been completed since most of the system has been installed. So in 2019 and 2020, WSP, actually my coworker, Ewan McDonald, he completed an overall assessment of the entire town of Watson Lake system. So this included inspecting sewer lines with a camera, getting a GPS survey done, assessing the condition of all the water and sewer and storm infrastructure. And in doing this, priority was assigned to each street based on not just the condition of the pipe, but also the, I guess, criticality of that particular pipe or section and the impact to the rest of the system and the public safety. And so based on the priority of each pipe, the town was then divided carefully into 5 construction stages or priority zones. And then, so just recently, WSP won the contract to design and administer these future construction stages. And so I'll go over these stages now. Unfortunately, the project started a little bit later than anticipated. Wondering if you can, okay, I'm sharing the right screen here. Perfect. So because the project started a little bit later than anticipated, we aren't able to start full construction of stage 1 right away in 2022. And so instead, what we're doing is going to repair one of the worst sections that's costing the town of Watson Lake a lot of money right now, which is Tintina Way, right up here on the northwest corner. And so we're going to try to rush and get a small tender out just to repair that section so that the town of Watson Lake doesn't have to continue spending maintenance money on keeping that sewer main open. And that will only be replacing the sewer main and manholes. This is the tentative plan right now. It's not 100% for sure yet, but we hope to achieve that this summer. And so after this is done, we'll move on to the regularly scheduled construction stages. So in stage 1, which will happen between 2023 and 2024, and that's shown in this orange area here. This includes Finlayson Avenue, Lakeview Avenue, Wide Drive, 3rd and 4th Street, 7th and 8th Street, and Stikeen Avenue. And one thing to keep in mind is that with these construction stages, the roads will be completely dug up and access will be limited. Not all at the same time, but as the contractors replace water and sewer mains up and down the road, they'll have a fairly large section of trench cut open in the middle of the road, and then they'll backfill it, and then there'll be limited access for the remainder of the construction season. And so the plan is to replace all the water, sewer, ditches, culverts, driveway entrances, and roads as part of these projects. So this is stage one. Stage two, which is this yellow area. It includes Morley and Teslin Crescent, Ravenhill Drive, Nisutland Drive, Campbell Way, 9th Street North, Swift Place, Centennial Industrial Park, Adela and Frank Trail, and Stubenberg Boulevard, Boulevard residential area. So this is probably the biggest construction stage out of all the stages. And it's going to happen between tentatively 2025 and 2026. Next, stage three, which is this small turquoise colored area. It includes Nahani Drive, Simpson Drive, Tintina Way. But this time it's only the water, because we would have had replaced the sewer already in 2022. And Ravenhill Drive. So stage three was only 1 year long, and it will happen in 2027. Stage four, which is this green area, it includes Francis Avenue, Liard Avenue, Highland Avenue, Marsh Avenue, and a little bit of 8th Street North. And this is going to happen between 2028 and 2029. And then finally, stage five, which is tentatively scheduled for 2030. And then it includes the part of the Robert Campbell Highway, 9th Street North, and the areas around the school and the arena. And that's it. That's the basic overview of the next almost decade for Watson Lake.
Confused.
Did anyone have any questions at all?
Yes. I thought that our phase one was a 4-year phase, and it was going to be a larger portion of water and sewer, not what you presented as stage one there. That's why I'm a little confused.
Mhm.
So if you could go back to stage one for us.
Sure.
So,
Right here.
I'm just pulling it up now.
the timeline doesn't really line up either.
Yeah, so unless there's been some amendments since we received this
Yeah.
document.
Which document do you have?
I have the agreement letter.
Service agreement.
Yeah.
The one that's $100, is that it? You're looking at?
Town one, phase one, water, sewer, and road upgrade. Project involves rehabilitating sewer lines, drinking water, pipes, road surface, in Watson Lake, Yukon. Project scope includes replacing 1,262 meters of sewer line, 1,563 meters of transmission pipes, and 16,300 meters of road. And our map.
Sorry, I'm just in the process of getting that same document here so I can take a look at it.
Thanks, Marta.
But just to clarify in the meantime, so the sections that Lawrence does have highlighted are in accordance with the overall assessment that was done. That was the base for the funding application. which is what we have on that service agreement, but I'm just going to open, there might be some confusion in here. Give me just a second. Are there any other questions in the meantime?
The timeline, so 2023 is what you're projecting for the commencement of like the major in-ground infrastructure replacement. Is that correct?
Yes,
So a minimal amount of work to be done this summer.
that's right.
Tina Way. And when you're doing those sections, are you hoping to do a section from ground to road, or are you going to do are you going to finish the roadways, or are you going to, I think we went over this with Cam has given us a lot of direction. I just want to get some clarity on it all. So, and for everybody in the room as well. So for stage one, when you place the water and sewer lines, do you finish the roads?
So they'll dig a trench. They'll rip the road up completely. They'll dig a trench and dig down to the existing water and sewer pipes. They'll take them out. In the meantime, they'll have temporary services for all the houses that are connected to those areas. The street in front of those houses will be closed because it'll be a big trench. But ideally, the contractor will arrange a temporary traffic plan for people to access their properties. So they'll install new water and sewer pipes. They'll backfill. They'll get the roads to a state where the general traffic can drive on them. And then, so this will be a period of likely a month approximately for each individual affected resident. And then by the end of this construction season, the roads will be brought back to a state where they'll be permanently repaired.
So chip seal.
Yeah. The only exception to that is this Tintina Way, which I'm not sure if it will be worth installing chip seal on because it's only 4 or 5 years between it getting ripped up again for the water replacement. So most likely this little section of Tintina Way will just be a gravel road for 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
I do have here clarification. So the application that we have for funding in this case, it includes priority zones 1 and 2 that Lawrence was mentioning.
Okay. So there was a couple priorities, i.e. Y Drive was a priority for maybe not complete resurfacing, but for road work anyways. There was some water, I think there's some sewer lines on, is that Morley Crescent, Cam?
No. Stikine.
Stikine.
Mhm.
Okay. And there's just some priorities there that didn't really line up. So I just wanted to bring them forward.
Lawrence, can you just show up to priority 2, priority zone 2?
Okay.
Yeah, so when we requested in the service agreement we have is phase 1. When WSP's contract is according to the priority zones that were identified on the overall assessment, and moving to the next stage is always depending on budget availability. So with COVID and all those restrictions, it's always it's not clear how the bids are coming. So we have that stage per priority. But if funding does allow, we will be able to do both zones.
Okay.
Does that clarify your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you, Marta.
Okay.
Any questions?
I have a quick question. So we can see that the government has budgeted $7 million for this phase. I guess my question is this project in any way protected from inflation? So should the cost of supplies and labor, et cetera, increase before the project starts and or is completed, can we expect that our project will be clawed back, or can we expect that Yukon government will make up the difference?
I'm going to be honest, that will be something that I'll have to ask here internally to our funding. So right now we have those 7 million approved by Canada and by management board. Anything that will go above that, we would have to, most likely we'll have to go to management board for approval, and we would have to look into additional options for funding. There's no guarantee at this stage that more funding will be available as of today, that I'm aware of. Yeah.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, it's something we have been seeing in construction in general. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Councillor Slager, Councillor Burtis?
Councillor Hunter addressed my concerns about inflation.
Okay.
And $7 million being enough.
CEO Lockwood has been a large part of this project, so if there's any comments.
And I guess, Lawrence, what you presented from till the final stage in 2030, I believe, that's the whole project. That was what we had estimated at that 28 or $30 million. Right, Marta?
That's correct.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. And hopefully with the federal budget being released on Friday, hopefully that's when they'll announce their new ISIP funding or whatever 2.0, hopefully, being it's the budget time. So usually that's when that rolls out. So I'm cautiously optimistic we might know more about what's coming down the pipe on Friday.
Mhm.
But I'm from administration side, I'm very happy to see it's at least with the first $7 million to address the issues that we're having, the areas that we're having in. And yeah, if the funding flows from Ottawa, which it always revolves around, yes, we'll have, everything will be up to brand new state.
Mhm. That looks great. We're very excited. We did, like you mentioned, we had the weak points kind of looked after at one point there. Lakeview was a big mess. There was a couple of spots that got taken care of, but we weren't exactly sure what that entailed. And now with this complete overhaul, it'll really strengthen our infrastructure for a long time to come. So it is a long process, but the breakup of the projects, I think, is manageable. And I'm with Cam, I'm cautiously optimistic that even though now that everything's in place, it makes it a lot easier to apply for that funding instead of, developing a project when those monies roll out. So if there's no other questions right now, I'll just say thank you very much, Lawrence and Marta, for your presentation today. The town of Watson Lake's very excited. So we look forward to working with you in the future. And yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lawrence. Thank you, everyone. If everyone's okay, I will be leaving the meeting. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Lawrence. So that's a big undertaking, and I'm sure there's going to be questions and comments from the community as a whole. So we'll definitely keep everybody updated on the progress. We have been approved for the phase 1 of that work, so that will commence for sure. And like Cam was saying, we're hoping to get secure funding for the rest of that. It all comes from federal dollars.
So that's just our infrastructure, right?
Yep.
So say property owner is just like, well, seeing as how you're putting a new pipe there, I would like to dig up my lawn and take this opportunity to replace my 50-year-old water line and sewer line as well.
You have opportunities for things like that. I was actually thinking something similar.
Could they piggyback while the equipment's right there and go bada bing, or would that just add too much time, or
I
like?
think that would put a lot of strain on the build because construction season is so short. But it would be a time for them to hire a local
I
contractor.
was just gonna say
to
that
join in.
do local and then they could do it, in tandem
Like set
or
aside
similar times.
versus-
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be the way because once you start adding other additions to it, which
The project's already 10 years long, Thomas.
I know.
and how does the contractor manage his progress under the contract with us, right?
Gotcha.
But I think it's perfect timing, like you say, to join in when the new service, because we're replacing even curb stops in the program, right? So everything right to the property line. So that would be a perfect time if somebody's got issues to actually get a contractor in and have all new right to the doorstep.
I think leading up to it, we'll have lots of communication on what's happening and hopefully people will be well aware of what's going on and we can do exactly that, right? Because there's years in advance, so.
Yes, your worship, and it'd be a good time for local contractors to put a blurb out to the community about potential, right?
Okay. Any more questions or comments?
How much do you think it would cost? What have we been charging so far? Like, they've been digging up water lines and replacing a section of it, and then you go back and redig it again versus like just replacing, what do you think the cost would be, ballpark?
For a resident
Yeah.
themselves, I honestly have no idea.
10? Ballpark?
I'm not sure, well, maybe, I'm not sure, it depends on, every property's different.
Yeah, probably
Where it is,
varies.
has it, yeah.
No, that's something I wouldn't want to commit a price to.
Right, anyways,
Okay, moving along. Thanks, Thomas. Counselor Slager. CEO Lockwood, CAO report, please.
Yeah, so your worship, we've been steadily moving ahead and we're still trying to gather the move to the new fire hall. Even though we're operational in there, we're still not fully set up. So we have another move date gathering scheduled for the fire department on Thursday to hopefully get things on shelves and streamlined. So that's moved ahead, and I'm very happy to say our new mini excavator arrived. Almost a year delivery again. So the rest of our stuff is on order from last year still, and we still haven't got dates for arrival of our fleet vehicles and that type of product. I do want to recognize the hard work that Tyson Cole put in over the winter for the fire department. Tyson stepped up and unfortunately he wanted to go back to wildland fire. I couldn't twist his arm or tie him. And I just wanted to make sure that I commended the hard work he put into helping get the department back on track and into the move and house cleaning and making sure everything was certified and up to standard. The staffing action for the term position for the new director of public safety closes on Friday. And so I won't know until next week if what is in there for resumes or if there is any. We are holding interviews on tomorrow, staff Connie Heaney's position. So which is exciting. We had 3 local very qualified applicants for that. So look forward to see what tomorrow brings after the interviews. Shannon through the finances is running that competition. So that's moving ahead as well. Our staff has done remarkable work on getting the streets cleared and excess snow moved so drainage can take place. A major cost to the municipality, but also like to thank our local contractors for stepping up and committing to supplying equipment to help us get that work done. Our staff worked long hours and extra days to make sure that we're trying to maintain our streets without losing our chip seal. Because as you see in the presentation, it might be a few more years before some of those streets get replaced. So, so that's moving ahead. The other thing coming up is the AYC AGM on May 12th and 13th.
13th, 14th.
13th, 14th, yes, sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry, it's CAO meeting start on the 12th.
Okay.
We did receive a request from YG to see if mayor and council want to meet with any of the ministers or departments. So I think if council wants to meet with any particular ministers, premiers, departments, please let me know or make a motion and we can get a letter written to schedule a meeting, maybe even for Thursday night or something, or one of the evenings.
Do we have to like pick our favorite, or
So
can we set up multiple?
You can.
Is that an option?
Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
so it just depends on how we schedule it based around what's the AGM events that are going on, right? So that's proceeding. You have quarterly reports in your basket, or sorry, in your inbox for tonight. And we are continuing to deal with the public waste drop off, which is out for tender right now. And I'm also in the final review stages of our 2023 solid waste permit application, which has to be in by June. It's 100 and some pages, and I'm just fine tuning to cover us for the next 10 years. So that's moving ahead, and I'm sure there's going to be, we're also looking to schedule the open house for the new municipal services building. We have new signage went up internally in the building so we could get our occupancy that went in today. And once things hit a little slowdown with public works, then we're going to start the move for public works into the building as well. I hired a contractor to go in and set up all the shelving and get that stuff off the plate. And so it's ready to go for actually starting to move stuff. So it's huge. The property has been cleared of all the snow. We are dealing with the frozen sewer over there, which we expected to happen because there's a deficiency on the sewer line that we knew of, but they told us that we would not be able to get it dug up and repaired before freeze up. So we made the agreement that we would, if there was a freeze up on the line, that Johnson Builders were on the hook for steaming it. And now that the snow's moved today, we were actually able to get in and open up the manhole and confirmed our suspicions that it would be frozen. So that's being dealt with right now. It's not, hasn't been steamed yet, but arrangements being made for that. So, that type of thing is nice. It's nice. The yard's drying out very good over there. And so just looking forward to getting the move done and actually getting relocated and operating over there. So exciting. Yeah, so that's it for now, and I will leave the other thing to zoning bylaw. I've sent it out for a second view through a third-party consultant to get another vision of that document, because I've looked at it numerous times and I keep picking parts of it out that I have issues with, and I know councils had. So I wanted to get a second or a third set of eyes from an independent consultant that actually deals in planning to feed back to us. So hopefully I'm going to have that in a few weeks to come back to council to give you a better review of where it's at. The other thing is that we've scheduled for April 12th is your next kick at your strategic planning. So that's coming up as well for your schedule. So I'll leave it at that, and questions can come forward further on.
Okay, thanks, CAO Lockwood. If it's all right with everybody, we can hold questions till council open forum, or
Yeah.
is that fine?
I would just a quick one.
Sure.
I was just wondering if you could update us on the rec roof as far as, I remember last time somebody from tourism telling us that we were having a problem with leaks on the their displays in there. And I mean, that's obviously could be devastating for them. So I was just wondering if we had figured that out.
Yeah, So we hired Ion Kachika. We put it out for pricing. Ion Kachika submitted a price and they were contracted to do snow removal on the roof.
I saw that.
Yes. So it wasn't cheap. Unfortunately, that's the cost to have that.
Is
business done.
that good enough?
Well,
Like, is it-
it's slowed down the drips, all right. And it's not dripping on any displays.
Okay,
Bowling alley, for some reason this year's decided to be the place that it wants to leak the worst. I've got a picture. I think we've got 21 garbage cans in there
Okay.
catching different drips and
Oh,
different
no.
areas.
Right.
It's absolutely sad, but I did, as of yesterday, locate one funding pot that'll give us access to $1 million towards that. I was in contact with Superior Roofing out of Whitehorse to come down and actually do a scoping plan for us to see what we can do to put a Band-Aid on it. But at least I know I've been able to leverage $1 million and then it's stackable funds. So,
Mhm.
so they'll provide 80% funding to a maximum of $1 million, but it's stackable. So we can use gas tax, we can use any other funds that I can find. So I'm still chasing that. I did find some other funding available through FCM, trying to get confirmation about how we can use that towards the program. But I'm hoping that we can, well, we're going to put a Band-Aid on it this year. It's going to be something that'll have to come back to council for approval because it wasn't scoped in the budget, because we didn't know what dollar amount to put in the budget for it. So it'll be an amendment to this the capital budget. But we are making strides, and I've been working with infrastructure because the next part is we had the scoping document for the roof already. But it's just a matter of coming up with a scoping plan so I can put it out for tender to get the roof done. Because of the dollar amount, it's gonna have to go to tender.
Okay.
And odds are I'm going to put it out to Colliers to manage that project because the dollar amount and the
Mhm.
scope is just way past
What you want to deal with?
what I have to deal with.
I have one more quick one.
Okay.
Do we have an ETA on the water leak equipment?
No, my staff was back and forth with the company and I haven't ordered it yet,
Oh,
but we can't start using it until the snow's gone anyway.
okay.
So, so yes, I'm hopefully, if everything goes right, I'm hoping to have it ordered within the next week. And that way we can be ready to go once the snow's gone and try to put a plug in the ground.
Okay, I'll hold the rest.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Councillor Hancher. Thanks, Councillor Lockwood.
Counselor.
Sorry, Lockwood. Freudian slip there. Okay, that was great. Thank you. Yes, we're excited about the municipal building. Yeah, we will be discussing the open house date. We were hoping to choose a day that would work for the community as a whole, kind of partake with other events, but we're unsure if that's going to work. So we'll reach out to a couple of groups and see if we can't coordinate a group effort for that and make it very grand. So it'd be good to have a great turnout and everybody get to see that new building.
Yes, and I believe it's probably time for the community to be able to have a
A
celebration.
gathering, yeah, for sure. Okay, we'll move on to number 6, which is the departmental quarterly reports. We received reports from all departments, which were very well written. They're getting better and better. I would like to highlight the fire department's departmental review for this quarter, written by Tyson Cole, which was
Yeah,
very well presented, great information, and much appreciated for all his efforts this year as a stand-in. It's unfortunate that he doesn't want to be full-time because I think he would be a great fit. Do you want me to read out each report? Some of them are a little shorter than others. Or can we provide them to the public?
I think, your worship, if council approves them, we can, I think there's nothing confidential in the reports
Okay.
that I can see. If council approved them, then we could actually put them on the website.
Sounds good.
Well, the only one would be that we would have to do some redacting, or would be the financial one.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to adopt the quarterly reports.
thank you,
I'll
Counselor.
second.
Thank you, Counselor Burtis. Any more questions?
Yes, I just have one. Under the landfill and recycling one, like the revenues in the like red, does that mean that's money lost? Sorry?
Landfill?
Yeah, this is revenue 52,772, but it's red. I just didn't know if that's the name.
you just put it.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, like, it just that to me means negative, so that's all.
I totally agree with you.
Okay.
So no, we're definitely positive.
Okay, that's what I figured. I just wanted
We
to
go
double
the
check.
budget, Your worship, we go to the budget one, for revenue for the landfill, it shows that it is.
Oh, okay, no, thanks, that's all.
And your worship, I can follow up on our running bank balances if you want. Sure. For the record. So in our general day-to-day operations account, as of today, we have 2,175,539.91. In our savings account, we have 3,008,766.92. And in our reserve accounts, we have 1,537,511.23 for a total of 6,721,818.06 in those accounts.
Great. Thank you, Cam. Hey, all in favor for the admin reports?
Yes.
Carried. Please thank your admin for those reports.
Yes.
Excellent.
I had one question on here, if you'll allow it.
Okay,
Just the public works one, like obviously it was a crazy year for snow, like nobody's challenging that at all. But we did run incredibly over budget in a lot of ways to the tune of about $53,500. Where are we making that up?
Lots of
Where-
mosquitoes.
Your worship, right now, we are currently running it as a deficit, but I believe within the operating budget, we will have new, because we are running some staffing vacancies and stuff right now. So I believe we'll be able to cover it internally.
Okay,
Unfortunately, it's hard to budget for that because,
no, for sure. Nobody knows what's gonna happen,
so,
but
and who knows, in the fall, we may not hopefully have snow until later in the year. So hopefully you never know how it's going to play out in the wash, but being it was anomaly, it's hard for us to go back and add that into the budget because next year might not, we base our budgets on averages, right? And it is an anomaly, but I do believe that we will be able to cash manage it internally.
okay,
it will increase your average quite dramatically.
Yes, it will.
So
thank you.
Something,
good to anticipate.
yeah, when we do go through the budget years, we'll see how that plays out.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Councillor Hancher. Carrying on. We are on to the number 7, which is the draft cemetery bylaw. This bylaw is sensitive for many reasons, and we have had lots of input from various groups and individuals in the community. Great feedback. I mean, all feedback is good feedback. So one of the champions for finding all this feedback is our Councillor Paquette, who's unable to make it today. And we were looking forward to her input as well. But if any of council has any input they want to add tonight, that'd be great. And if not, that'd be fine because we're still going to be working on this bylaw as we go. And this might give a chance for the gallery to speak on it as well. So
I just have one point to start that didn't make it onto this list here, but that a member of the public brought to me, and I agree, is that people should be allowed to plant, and if this is in here, forgive me, that people should be allowed to plant things graveside as long as it's well kept and looked after. That they, like, if there's room for it, if they want to plant their own flowers, like to actually grow them there, I think that that should be allowed. I think it's beautiful and like I said, if it's well kept and it's, you know, tidy and it keeps to their own plot, I think that that should be allowed. And if people want to have a memorial bench, such as if they already have one there, I think that we should make allowances for those types of things.
There should be some grandfather rules for what's existing, right?
Yeah, I guess is what I'm getting at.
There are a lot of details to this that are very sensitive.
Mhm.
So we'll have to definitely provide strong input to admin to follow up on all this, because it will be difficult to come to a complete bylaw, and we are looking for some landscaping to be done in the very near future, but this bylaw will not be too crucial, let's say, for the input of those landscaping features.
Yeah, so that
So
was
we
my-
can continue to work on this as long as we need to, but we don't want to drag it on for till the end of time.
I also think there are a few, like, there's obviously a lot of input here. Like I was not anticipating there being like 100 points here,
Mhm.
which is awesome because I think historically we've had very, poor feedback or,
Yeah.
participation. But I do know that there are a few other people out there who I think would like to contribute something. So, do you guys have things you want to add at this time?
Yeah, I got a bunch.
Okay.
Sorry, well,
Sorry.
I just did a lot.
Yeah.
That's great.
Absolutely.
Yep, so go ahead.
Okay, so what I did was with all the feedback that was collected by some of the townspeople, I took their feedback and I just read through what they thought things should mean, and I just put what I sort of agreed with, and
Mhm.
I have like a couple of points. So like, for instance, do you want me to just read it in sections?
Yeah, sorry, Dale, what we'll do is we'll just maybe, if Terry, if you don't mind, we'll take some notes and we'll get Tiff to add it to this
Yeah,
so that it kind of can work along line with it,
Yeah.
or it'll, kind
No,
of
that's fine.
create some clarity on it.
yeah, because I just wrote little points by each section of sections that I read from points that the people gave feedback on.
Yep.
So like, for instance, 3.4 and 3.5, they sound almost exactly the same. So I'm not sure if we can combine, just because there's just a couple of things added in 3.5 that there's not in 3.4. And they do sound the same. I read through it a couple of times just to make sure. And so I'm not sure if that could just be one section. And then, I'm sorry, and then let me go to this one here.
You don't have to be sorry, Councilor Burks. I appreciate you.
No apologies.
And then, so 4.3B, it says, what are the community standards and who determines them? I do agree, like, it should be laid out on what the standards are for the compatibility with the community standards. It says that the cemetery is going to be in a whole. So there should be a clear outline of what those standards are for people to know prior to putting in doing a burial or something like that they can follow, just for it's very clear, like this is what we're trying to set as our precedents of the cemetery.
Okay.
Okay. In 6.1B. So interment services, it says that it's only supposed to be Monday to Friday and not on Saturdays or Sundays. And I'm believing that's understanding, just because the town, we only work Monday to Friday usually, not on weekends. But I think that it should be allowed to have it on Saturdays, only because if you're trying to do a burial on a Saturday, you don't want to have to pay the overtime, because in here it says that you'll have to pay any extra costs of overtime or something. But I think that taking away the weekend from everybody is not a good idea.
Yeah.
Like I think that was a really good point that somebody made. And then on 6.4 B and 6.4C. I'm just not understanding why there's dates that you can have fresh cut flowers at the gravesite. Like, I don't understand why there's even a date. Like, somebody should be like, because the dates, it says from September 16th to May 14th. Like, why is there a date on that? Like, if somebody wants to bring flowers in December, like they should. So I just think that should just be scrapped.
Whole section, Dan?
Not the whole section, just the dates. Like, you should be able to bring the flowers whenever you want.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know why there's dates saying only from certain time to certain time.
but the other part, should we get rid of you bring flowers wherever you are? And I know it was said to me was, well, what happens when the flowers look unsightly? And then it's like, well, what?
We'll see, it says that the town will remove that or remove memorials if it looks unsightly, which I'm fine with, but it also says though they can do it without prior notice, which I'm not sort of fine with, just only because if there's a big memorial somebody out there, and I understand that it's looking godly, but they should be notified at least, okay, your memorial out there's just looking pretty shabby, you might want to freshen it up or we're going to remove it. Like, there should be
I agree
some
with that,
sort of-
like a warning, but
some warning.
I think we should be firm in that.
No, we should be, but there should be a warning saying you have until, say, this date, or because we can't just go around taking stuff off graves.
Yeah, yeah.
That just seems like a big conflict of interest and a problem we're gonna have.
Yeah.
Like, if we start doing stuff like that. There's a couple minor ones, like 6.1. Somebody suggested, because it says to go 20 kilometers per hour in the cemetery, but somebody suggested 10 to 15, which I think that's a good suggestion. Like, you should be at a slow pace anyway going through there if you're driving in there.
It's unfortunate, there should really be a speed limit,
No, that's right,
but
but
I know, I understand what you're saying.
yeah.
Okay.
In 6.1 or 6.12, section K, it says, except for guide dogs, it should be service dogs, just because not every dog's a guide dog. And also, somewhere in there, it should say that they have to clean up after their dogs.
Yeah.
Just doesn't say anything like that. That was just another thing that somebody suggested. And then there's a big one that one sec here, sorry.
Be sorry, Dave. Feedback.
So in again in 8.2, it says the cemetery and general community standards. I just like, we need some sort of guideline to what the community standards are going to be, and just be accessible for people to look through and read.
That might play into our design and
That's right, and that's what I
Public.
think. And was that design, sorry, on the website as well as the cemetery bylaw for people to look at?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, okay. I was just gonna double check that because I know we received it. I just wasn't sure if it was on the
I
website.
asked Tiffany to put it on there, so was it, sir?
Okay, thank you. Sorry, something. Oh, and then on so like in section 9 and 9.5, there's a statement in there that says the town shall bear no responsibility or obligations to place or install at the town's expense any form of temporary or permanent memorials at the grave. But then if you go to 9.7, it says every memorial at the cemetery shall be placed, installed, and relocated or moved by the by or under the direction direct supervision of the town. So it's saying that the town's not going to do it, and then it says they can only be the ones doing it. Like, so it sort of contradicts itself there.
some clarity.
Yeah, just some clarity where it's not sounding, because that's what it sounds like to me, is the town is the only one that can do it, but they're not going to. And then in 9.13, it says, one sec here. So where it determines a memorial or installation do not comply with the bylaw or memorial requirements established by the town. Well, there shouldn't be stuff like, because all through this bylaw, it says the town has to approve everything.
Mhm.
So stuff shouldn't be going up that's not approved anyway, like, so I don't know how that happens when the town's already approved what they're doing. So it just doesn't, it's not clear there, like,
In your worship, I think that part refers to, because the cemetery isn't locked on weekends. So
no,
there has been occasions when people have gone in to do stuff on weekends that we don't know about until after.
yeah, no,
After hours. so you
Sorry,
can still-
we lock our cemetery?
No, I said it is not locked.
Okay, but is it locked ever?
No.
Okay, good.
and I think, just one more, just one sec. No, that's pretty much it. There's just like, I made points of all of the ones like that just say the same thing where it's like, without prior notice, there's just a lot in each almost section where we're giving the way we want it done, but all of it always says, well, without prior notice, we're gonna do this, which I don't think you can like do that.
Right.
Like, I think there should be some at least attempt to contact somebody that has something to do with each site and just say, well, we're gonna do this, or we're moving this, or, but you can't just do it and then
See you later.
see you later, right? And then that was the most concerning parts that I read through, and yeah, I know that's what I found out so far.
Thank you.
And also, sorry, and also just maybe if we can get an pay structure of some sort where I know we don't really know, but at least some sort of guideline for people to look at, because does everybody look at this one that said examples only and they figured that was what it was gonna be?
Right.
So,
Yeah, those are, our current charges are in the fees and charges bylaw,
okay,
but those will have to be looked at again once this bylaw is in place.
And your worship, the examples are based off of other communities and
Okay.
suggestions for where we need to be.
okay. And there was just one in general comments that had nothing in here. It was just, it said there's nothing in the bylaw about prepaying reserving plots. And could be worked into fees, or perhaps separate policies needed. Like, there's nothing in there that says like about reserving or prepaying for plots.
I thought for sure I read something that had like,
I just read the general comment. I couldn't find anything in there
okay.
when I was going through it. I might have missed it, but
Like a plot that if it was reserved and it met ABCD,
So,
I think
six
that's,
different qualifications. And the person had reserved a plot, paid for it once upon a time, said this is mine, but it was 50 years after they bought it. There's a lot of different stipulations that maybe the person doesn't exist or is buried somewhere else and therefore does not need it.
I also think like, I thought maybe it wasn't currently in because, isn't that one of the main problems that we're having right now is that, you know, we have a lot of reserved plots, but they're not paid for. So we basically have these things that are just like being saved, but then we don't have enough plots to accommodate the rate with which people are unfortunately passing away in our communities. We don't have any, and that's the whole reason why we need to restructure this in the first place. So we do need to have that part added, like make sure that it's addressed in the bylaw to basically stop that from happening. Either, I think,
I know.
you know,
But like, imagine you're a large family and you all want to be buried together, so they want a bunch of reserves, right?
or deposit.
well, that's the thing is if you,
Something maybe like that, but like, I think if you
Because we're still maintaining those and saving them and you know what I mean? Like it's,
just, you're dying not quick enough.
but
it was, well, so your worship, the issue we run into is that we've had family groups come in and reserve a large number of plots. And then now they're not using them. They have people that have passed away, but they're not using the plots. They're either cremating or doing different things and not telling us, but by reserving them, even if it's just a deposit, at least then there's some accountability to maintain them, right? Or turn them back.
Deposit is acceptable, I think.
So, and everywhere else in the world, you either pay a deposit or you pre-purchase.
yeah, that's, my dad already has done that. Like, he did that like 20 years ago. Like, so.
That's that way we can pre-plan, because right now we have all these ones that there's been no payment on, and they're floating, and like you say, and some of the people that reserved them aren't even around themselves anymore.
And sorry, there's just one more note. I just couldn't find it in there because I can't remember what number it is, but there's a part in there that says like after the burial, like because there's mounds and then they're gonna push the mounds, like make them.
Flatten them.
Somebody just asked, like the ones that are out there that's still mounded, those are gonna be leveled?
Well, that's something that we'll have to clarify, because
Yes.
there's some plots now that are actually sunken, so we have to deal with.
Yeah,
But, yeah, unfortunately for doing maintenance, it would be nice to have them level, and that's
That's
what
right.
they've gone to everywhere.
no, that's right. And somebody just asked about that question. It's just, are they gonna do the ones that are already out there and level them, and that's all. Okay,
Some of those things we'll have to have some public input again
Yeah.
at some point, and when we come to the
consultation.
conclusion, we'll have to make a decision on consistency of what going forward, what it's gonna be. Right?
The other thing too, like, you have to do it, everybody else is doing it everywhere else in the country, like,
I mean,
why not be unique, and that's what makes us us.
there's gonna be variety, for sure. We live in, for an instance, the Casca Nation has a different way of doing everything too. And I don't know how much input from them we've had, but we have to get a strong contingent of information from them. To
Yes.
understand how they want to proceed and how they want to do things as well, if they're gonna use this service, right? So, and I think part of it is mounding. It's a big part of it, right? So, yes, Thomas, I agree.
And I agree with that as well. It'd be nice to have some more input there, and yeah, and it'd be nice to have some input from Councillor Paquette, and I'd like to provide a little bit more myself
Yeah.
a little later. So I'd like to make a motion to table this conversation to the committee of the whole meeting in May.
Thank you, Councillor
I'll
Hancher.
second it.
Thank you, Councillor Slager. All in favor?
Yeah.
Carried. Thank you, Councillor Burtis, for all your feedback.
Yes, thank you, Councillor. It was awesome.
Not to cut it short, but
Oh, sorry.
to continue, no, but to continue the table part there, to continue refining and making it more succinct.
Yes, your worship, it hasn't had first reading, it's just a draft. It's before council.
No, it's great, and we need as much feedback as we can, because like I said in the beginning, it's a sensitive topic. And for everybody in the gallery tonight, they will also be able to provide some feedback. If you want to type any comments into the comment box, that'd be great.
Prefer if you'd email Tiffany, please. It's
Okay.
CDO.
Okay, so also if you could email cdo@watsonlake.ca, any comments that you have for this, that'd be great. Or any, suggestions for information, that would also be great. Okay, so moving along, we're going to number 8, which is Tintino Way infrastructure issues. Administration has provided us with an administrative report. We discussed this in length at our previous meeting. I'm going to read this administrative report out.
I don't seem to have that one.
It was emailed out today. It was in the initial.
I know, I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time accessing the files. So I'm
So I'm going to read it out. Is that all right?
yeah, sounds
Okay.
good.
The purpose, report to council on residential sewer steaming on Tintino Way. Recommendations from administration are, number 1, not to authorize the repayment of steaming services. Authorize the repayment of steaming costs to homeowners. Financial implications, if council approves repayment of cost to homeowners, it could have a significant financial impact. Strategic priority implications, community health and safety, background discussion. There's a lengthy background because we had a presentation from constituents from Tintino Way expressing their concern that the main sewer line was the cause of their frozen lines. So out of the 2 recommendations that were provided, can I have some comments or questions or any feedback from council?
Could you read 1 and 2?
Sure. Number one, not to authorize the repayment of steaming services. Two, authorize the repayment of steaming costs to the homeowners. And number one is the preferred.
I'm in favor of number 2.
So I need a motion.
Motion to be in favor of number 2.
There, just 1 second, Councillor Slade.
Yep.
Just one. We do have lots of bylaws in place to mitigate these kind of problems, and, you know, we don't want to set precedents that we will be paying for these kind of things going forward. It's a difficult situation, but as you heard in our infrastructure presentation, that entire street is going to be completely redone this year. Also, the constituent that faced the most damage, I believe, is going to be insured. And
Because they're insured is not a reason not to help them.
of course not. Of course not, Councillor Slater. But as I was saying, we don't want to set precedents. There's laws and rules based in our bylaws that are for these exact reasons. So anyways, motion on the table to accept recommendation number 2.
Due to the fact that the entire line needs to be replaced and it's getting bumped up to number 1 because we realize there is an issue in the main, not all the individual properties that has affected. I am in favor of reimbursing the residents for the issues that have been caused as a possibility of our main backing up into their places.
Possibility though. We don't know any of that.
Possibly.
We don't know any of that for sure, right?
Well, I think we actually do. If you read the admin report, I think we were provided with extensive background from the CAO and his team regarding what was scoped in those pipes and underground and whatnot. And it says that, well, to echo what you said earlier, it is an unfortunate situation, but it's not definitively at the fault of the municipality. So it does say that, in fact, in that, and they have investigated it. So, I mean, did you want to continue on with the?
There's a motion on the table
That's fine.
to accept recommendation number 2, which is authorize the repayment of steaming costs to homeowners, which we don't know that number either. We don't know how much that is.
Because we were not provided? Okay.
Ballpark what that number could be.
No, your worship, and I guess the bigger question is, are you talking about repayment just for this year? Or are you, where do you draw the line, I guess, from administration's point of view? Are you talking?
From my understanding, from my witnesses there, they said that the town was steaming and everything was working good, it was almost clean. And then the town quit steaming, and then the following day, that's when the sewer really hit the fan, so to speak.
Your worship, according to my staff, we've only had 1 freeze up on that line, and that was for the house that did back up that we're dealing with insurance on. That was the only time we actually had a total freeze up. The rest of the time we've been steaming on that line has been for preventive maintenance only, to ensure that. There's one residence that is notorious for freezing up on that street, and that's not when our main is frozen, but that residence hasn't froze at all this year. And on other years, they've been steamed as many times as 4 times for their personal service. So
would it be our line or their line that keeps freezing in the past?
in the past, it's been their line because our line hasn't been frozen at the time they've been steaming. And that's the problem with some of these residents. And if his worship maybe read the full report in, it would show that when some of these residents have been frozen, our main sewer has not been frozen.
Yeah, so it says that there were some circumstances where their line to their house was frozen, but the main wasn't frozen. And then there were also circumstances where it was deemed that it was potentially due to low flow from on the homeowner side, whether from not being used or not being used very much, that was potentially a cause for the freeze up. So, yeah.
I'll read the background discussion.
Sure, that would be great.
Okay. At the March 22nd council meeting, council requested an in report regarding the steaming of sewer on Tintina Way, along with the implications of reimbursing homeowners for any steaming costs that they have incurred based on the request from residents. The sewer line on Tintina Way was constructed in 1978 of extra strength vitrified clay pipe in 3-foot long sections. In 2020, WSP Engineering conducted a CCTV inspection of the Tintina sewer, which discovered the following issues, which include roots growing at a joint, punctures through the pipe, and frequent cracks. Our utilities operator have reported freezing issues on Tintina Way for years. As a result, we have established a program to check manholes in known problem areas for freezing issues twice a week and increased our inspections on Tintina to 3 times a week. This winter, we only experienced 1 freeze up of the line, I'll just leave constituent's name out, sewers backed up into the residence. Because of our inspection program, we have completed preventative steaming on that line multiple times this winter when ice was observed building up. Our utilities operator and engineers are unable to determine if it is the sewer main that is freezing up, causing the residents' services to freeze, or if it is the residential services that are freezing up, causing the sewer main to freeze. Some of the residents on Tintina Way have a minimal flow into the sewer due to low household occupation and extended periods of no flow, which causes the lines to glaciate and eventually close out. The freezing of sewers can also be caused by the low spots of sags in sewer pipes, which can only be determined by having the lines flushed and inspected by a camera. We have contacted Northern Enviro Services, have been told that they have had to steam residential services multiple times each winter when the sewer main did not require steaming. This winter, they have only steamed 2 residential services. One was the constituent from above, the other was a different household, which was not related to the sewer main freezing. It was possible that a roof vent was plugged at one time. The town water and sewer bylaw 1607 states the following sections. The owner shall protect the sanitary sewer service, storm service, and water service from blockage or damage due to freezing. Freeze protection devices or methods shall be installed or employed to the satisfaction of the town of Watson Lake. Owners or consumers shall have a duty of care to maintain and use the sanitary sewer service, stormwater service, or water service in the manner in which they were designed to be used for. Any property owner or consumer experiencing a service failure or interruption of the sanitary sewer service, stormwater service, or water service shall report the matter to Public Works Department. Consumers having a service failure or interruption of the sanitary sewer service, storm sewer service, or water service, the investigation and or repair of which necessitates excavation with the town right-of-way shall, prior to taking any action, sign a work order with the town. To determine the cause of the issue, it is very hard to determine. We deal with the scenario in other areas of the community off and on. We are currently dealing with the same scenario at the new municipal services building. And that is due to a low spot in the sewer, sag in the sewer line. If council approved the reimbursal of steaming costs, it would open the municipality to claims from numerous other residents throughout the town. To other issue is how do we determine which expenses are legitimate or caused by homeowner neglect and for what years? Sorry, that offered some clarity.
Thank you. Motion on table.
There's a motion on the table. But there's some clarity needed. So if I have no motion,
Oh, Counselor Slager made a motion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
so I'll need a second.
okay.
And if there's no second, then I'll need a new motion.
I'll make a motion to accept recommendation number 1 from administration to not authorize the repayment of steaming services.
Thank you, Councillor Hancher.
I will second.
Thank you, Councillor Burgess.
Before there's a vote, just like to remind you that in the past, depending on who was friends with who, it seemed, various costs and stuff like that have been reimbursed or done or completed. Sure, if I thought real hard now, Sarah, I could come up with a list of names and properties. So to say that this is going to start a precedent has already been set.
I don't think it's fair to say that that's the case for members of this council.
No.
So I don't think that you can
I'm just saying, like, I'm just.
fairly cast that on us.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not saying that's on us.
Thank you.
I'm just saying that if we're saying this is going to be a groundbreaking, setting precedent, legal binding thing, that's already been done.
Okay, so the motion's
That's all.
been made. Thank you, Councillor Slager. Motion was made. It was seconded. All in favor?
Opposed?
I can vote in favor.
Yeah.
Don't need to, but I did.
It's unfortunate, but
It is.
are making the repair, like it's an unfortunate situation.
Aaron, I would just like to say that during my time in council, I've been a very strong proponent of the rules.
Mhm.
Because in the past, there has been, he said, she said, and favorable decisions made for different people. And that's gotten people into trouble, and that's gotten administration into trouble. So I've been a very strong proponent of following the rules because it is hard, because we know everybody. But
We have bylaws for a reason,
that's right.
and we're either following them or we're
Policies are
not.
strong and we have to stick to them, so. I understand where you're coming from, that's. Okay. Anyways, thank you, everybody. It's a good discussion. Appreciate it. And, yeah. So next on our list is number 9, which is proclamation from the COVID, with regards to the COVID mandates. I have something I would like to state at this time. And before I start, I would just like to, mention that the group that came forward several times, and we appreciate where they're coming from, and thank you for all your input. Mayor and council would like to thank Watson Lake citizens for their ongoing efforts to follow the public health measures set out throughout COVID-19. Your flexibility, resilience, and patience have helped prevent the most severe outcomes from the pandemic in our town and across the territory. Recently, the government of Yukon has ended the state of emergency, the requirement to wear a mask in public spaces, and the requirement to show proof of vaccination to access designated settings for people who are 19 years of age and older. While certain high-risk settings will require mask and use of proof of vaccination, as a territory and as a town, we are returning to more normal conditions with lifting of these measures. Mayor and council will continue to support and follow all COVID-19 public health measures from the Yukon government, but everyone will need to make their own choices on how best to protect themselves and those around them moving forward. We recognize that for some Watson Lake citizens, this may be a difficult time, which is causing uncertainty. The most up-to-date information regarding COVID-19 in the territory can be found at a website that we'll put on our webpage. And we encourage all Watson Lake citizens to consider this information when using their discretion as we move forward. We will continue work with the town of Watson Lake citizens to foster goodwill towards all, regardless of the differences of opinions or beliefs that may exist with our community. It is important that we all respect each other's choices during this time and be aware that other people's comfort levels may be different than our own. As we move into the new normal, it is important through this level of kindness and understanding that we will continue to ensure we are best protecting ourselves and those around us as we move through the new stage of the pandemic together. So there is a transition period that we're dealing with, and there still is COVID. So we still have to be informed to make sure everybody knows what's going on around us. there are a lot less mandates. They aren't completely gone, as Councillor Hanchar mentioned earlier in the meeting, but we are going to endeavor to provide information when it is available to us. So please stay tuned for any COVID updates. We're still seeing spikes throughout the country. So when it's in the community, it's good to be informed. So let's not pretend it's completely done.
Thank you for that.
Okay, number 10 is trail proposals. Cam, did you want to speak on the trail proposals?
Yes, your worship, as you maybe remembered from previous meetings, and it was brought forward by Councillor Burtis requesting some upgrades to the signpost forest. So we've been working on trail proposals and stuff for quite a while, trying to figure out where to go. But we've actually located a funding source that will actually help cover a multi-phase approach to doing upgrades to the White Lake Trail and signpost forest system. So as you can see, there's a couple of recommendations going forward that we would like to, if everything's approved, we'd like to hire a consultant to actually do the groundwork to do the design and present the community to actually come up with a plan that's accessible, that's approved by everybody to do the development. And then there is funding available to do the trail stuff once we have a consultant and community feedback to do the application. So the nice part is that we were worried that funding envelope was going to be, you have to apply for $500,000 and, you know, how do you come up with a plan based on that? But the nice part was they came back and said that, no, you can do a multi-phase application. So first phase is to hire a consultant, do the community, the planning and all that stuff. So that's the first phase that we're applying for. And the nice part is that it's the envelope for that phase is up to a maximum 50,000. We did get a quote to come in at with the contingency. We're in around the $43,000 mark. So it'll help us get a better plan, and that way councils and the community's vision for what they want to do with the trails and the White Lake Trail system along with signpost forest.
So this is not this is just an idea at this point. It's not really a concern, it's just my own opinion, but I just wonder about, there's something in here about like paving or chipping the White Lake Trail, for example. I'm just wondering if it's worth doing maybe a little poll within the community to see if that's something that people even want to see, because I think, just personal opinion, I think one of the charming things about that trail is the fact that you're crunching on the roots and the gravel and all that stuff back there. I think that's what makes it, it's beautiful in there. And granted, it could use a bit of a, spruce up and some improvements and whatnot. I just wonder, I'm also not a jogger. Okay. So I don't know if, maybe chip seal is the preferred,
Method.
surface for, a trail like that. So I'm just wondering if it's worthwhile, and maybe that's part of this, the consulting part, whether there'll be any community consultation for those types of things.
In the attachment 10A, it talks about the proposed work plan. And in there, first is a site visit with background review. Second is community engagement and consultation.
Thank you.
Third is conceptual design, and fourth would be preparing construction documents based on the vision from everybody. And yes, I've heard both sides about the trail, about gravel and chip seal. Lots of complaints from elderly and mothers with kids and strollers and that type of.
And I also like on the other side, I like that part that you said about maybe being able to clear the snow in the winter, because I do, lots of people like to use that all year round. Exactly. So, so I can see both sides, but I guess I'd like to see, I'm happy to see that there's a community engagement portion in this. So.
Yeah, yes, your worship, but we've made sure that was in there, because otherwise it's just us telling the community what we're gonna do, and that's fine.
For sure.
Also in this mid report, sorry, it says 1 and 2, like that we do either one of those, or both of them are gonna have it.
Sorry, recommendations.
Yeah, like just because one just says White Lake Trail and then the other one says signpost forest.
Well, the recommendation is that we do both.
Yeah, okay. That's what I was just making sure that was clear. Like, I don't pick one of those. I want both of them.
Recommendation
Yeah,
is we're
okay.
doing
Okay,
both things as part of that proposal.
that is perfect.
And that the cost to do both was in that estimate.
In that 43,
Yes.
okay.
Need a motion.
Oh, I thought we were just,
Well, it's an administrative report if we want to move forward on the proposal.
oh, I'm sorry, is it?
I'll motion to accept recommendation number 1 on the administrative report for White Lake Trail and Signpost Forest enhancements.
Is that number 1?
Or a recommendation, both, 1, 2, sorry, I want both, sorry.
Okay. Okay.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Counselor Burtis, and thank you, Counselor Hanchar. We can provide more information on this going forward and set times for discussion and community and engagement very soon, as soon as we
Yes.
can secure all this funding and get things moving. So any more questions or comments? All in favor? Carried. Okay. Number 11. I'm going to read this one. It's a letter from Shannon and Steve Bergeron, Dear Mayor and Council. This is regarding subdivision and approval of conditional use of lot 13, plan 21366, 104 to 106 9th Street, North West Lake. Our plan is to subdivide a 2,486.7 square meter section of our lot on the side facing Lakeview Avenue in order to develop multiple housing units, which will be constructed by our contracting company, Bergeron General Contracting. These units will be energy efficient townhomes. The property is currently zoned as commercial local, so we would need council's approval to allow development of a multi-housing complex under conditional usage as per our zoning bylaw. Our preliminary planning shows that we will be able to build 6 to 9 units on a lot of this size, depending on individual unit size, setbacks, lot coverage. These units would be put up for sale at any unit, and any unit that could not be sold will be rented until the market allowed for the sale. For this reason, the project would also be built in 2 phases. Excuse me. When the first multi-unit building was sold, construction would be started on the second one. Bergeron General Contracting has extensive experience in developing multiple unit complexes such as this, and personally, we have experience in the rental market as well, having owned rental properties since 1990. For these reasons, we are very capable of completing and managing a project of this size. Watson Lake currently has a housing shortage for both home ownership and rental spaces. This project would help alleviate some of these shortages. In summary, we are seeking council approvals for this project prior to completing the subdivision and detailed planning process, as these are costly undertakings and we need to ensure we will be able to use this land for this purpose. Please let us know if you have any questions or need any further information.
Your worship,
Yeah.
for the record, this is a conditional use in that zone.
Mhm.
So under the town zoning bylaw, they've already submitted a conditional use application, but the next stage under it, which it's very clearly laid out in the zoning bylaw, the steps we have to go through for conditional approval. Part of it is advertising, public hearing. We have to notify all the other residents within 100 meters. So there's numerous steps, but part of that process is that they must present concept drawings and that type of stuff to go to that, and then also, look at the subdivision of the property. So it's sort of cart before the horse, but not totally there, because for them to start developing the concept drawings and the subdivision applications, there's a big cost of associated with it.
Yeah.
So I think what they're looking for is just a motion from council that council would
Intend to.
intend to move forward with the process.
Well, I am excited by this proposal. I think it's, I I think it's awesome. I think it's becoming increasingly apparent that we're not going to see any lot or land development from Yukon government anytime soon. So I think that given our housing crisis, given the housing crisis in this community, and our desperate need for units, I think that we need to do everything in our power to greenlight projects like this whenever they come across our table, such as now. So I'm 100% in favor of this, and I hope that everyone else agrees.
Can I get a motion to accept their conditional use application?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Slager.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Hanchar. All in favor?
But
Any more questions or comments? Thank you. Okay, thanks, everybody. Quickly, we have one little correspondence piece from Chief Schilling. He reached out hoping to connect with us. And if I could just ask administration to liaise with Chief Schilling and maybe get back to us on some recommended dates, because he was just reaching out to see if we wanted to meet.
Is this a meeting request?
Yeah.
Yes, your worship, actually, I met with Deputy Chief Schilling at 5 o'clock tonight. So,
Okay,
and we will reach out to schedule a mutual time.
okay. And you'll let us keep us in tune with that. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll move right along. So is there any more questions from council for council open forum?
Do you guys want to go first? I have a bunch.
Okay,
Go ahead, Lauren.
Councillor Slager?
pretty ominous.
Okay, so where will I start? So I guess just on the heels of what I just said, I would like to raise the issue of lot and land development because we seem to be at a standstill. We have seen little to no progress or action on this file in some time. I believe we have been more than understanding. We have been extremely patient. I kind of think enough is enough. We have been promising this to the people of Watson Lake, at least since I've been in council, and I'm sure beyond. So we're going on, 5 years, 4 plus. And I believe it's been 25 years since we've had any lot development or somewhere in that neighborhood. We said that construction would begin in 2021 and it's now 2022 regarding the Francis Avenue extension. We are now in the position where we are losing people from the community because they have nowhere to live. No one can move here, and some people who already live here may have to move on due to lack of housing options. Our own Councillor Slager wasn't able to find a place for his family recently in a time of crisis. For these reasons and more, I would like to move that we make an urgent request to the Premier and Minister of Community Services to meet in person with Mayor and Council to discuss the issue of land development. And based on what CAO Lockwood said earlier, it sounds like a good opportunity would be when we're in Whitehorse for the AYC AGM in May. So.
That's a big feedback.
okay. So that was a motion. So if I can get a second, just so we can make that.
All day.
Thank you, Councillor Slager. Thank you, Councillor Hanchar. So a formal motion to request a meeting with
Premier Silver.
Premier Silver and Minister Mostyn
Yes.
regarding our housing
Mhm.
and lot extensions.
So
Thank you, Councillor Hanchar. Is there more?
I do have a couple of other things, but did you have something you want to add to that, or
Oh, yeah.
just while we're talking on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
that'd be a quick amendment. So again, with the available housing and housing sitting vacant in some places, and what we can do about it, is start to think about the townhouse. And is it an asset or a liability? So the past couple of years, it's sat vacant. We've had to heat it. We say that it needs renovations, which again would cost us more money. But not only that, if we had someone living there, we would be making land taxes and water and sewer and garbage pickup. So not only are we we're losing money by letting it sit there, do nothing. Not only that, we're just only increasing the housing shortage by not giving it up to the rest of the community. And from time to time, we do rent it out. However, I feel that we live in a very nice community, and I think if we dug a little deeper and looked around, we could find these people within our own ranks to fill these various positions. So it is My hope, intent, expectation that we do something about it. So therefore, I would like to see us put the townhouse up for sale. So I'm going to make a motion that we put the townhouse up for sale to increase the housing shortage in Watson Lake.
Decrease.
Didn't someone say?
You said increase the housing shortage.
Increase the housing shortage.
Decrease, yeah.
You said increase.
Otherwise,
So I, do you intend to second?
No,
So I'm also not gonna second this, but it's not that I disagree with you. It's just that I need more information. And we need to think about this a lot longer. I'm not willing to second that at this time,
okay.
but I'm willing to engage in that conversation at a future date.
because like my concern too is that we post job postings with that house tied into the posting, right? For
Well, we don't have anywhere to live for anybody. Yeah.
no, but you don't know.
It all makes sense. Like they're all.
Yeah, that's why though, like you can't just say, okay, so somebody applies thinking they have a place to live and now they don't.
I know, but we're just,
But I know, like, but I just think that just more information.
rebuttal on 3 points. Here's some. So we don't want to be in direct business with other businesses that are already doing this, correct? I've heard this in this room before. So by renting it, wouldn't you be taking away from someone trying to set up who rents houses? Not only that, there's more to it. I have like 3 points.
I do think it's a conversation that we should have at some point at length.
Absolutely, I think so. If you look at the pros and cons, how much we're missing out on, like just the financial implications of holding on to it versus renting it out versus the money we would get, heating it, renting it.
So Councillor Slager, I have a suggestion. I agree with you. I'm not going to second the motion, but I do agree with you that we should sell that house. However, I think we should ask administration to look into that for us. Provide us with some feedback on a timeline that could be possible and whether or not we can find suitable housing for any employees that do want to come here. You know, we should just make sure that we can provide that. And I agree that that house is costing us money and that I think we should sell it. I don't think we should do it today, but I do think we should move forward with it. And if we could ask administration to provide a report for us and some recommendations, that would be much appreciated. So maybe we can set a timeline. Maybe we'll give you May, April, maybe till June. Is June okay? That's on
First June meeting?
first June meeting.
Oh, that works for me.
All right.
Yes, your worship, and as I've spoken in the past, my staff is working on administration report on that house.
Perfect.
Because I too believe that it's not fulfilling what we need.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, right now, we're in a situation with trying to staff a very hard position that we'd be in the same situation as Councillor Slager with no place to put the person when they come in.
Right.
Because we're not eligible to hit YTG housing and those other envelopes. So yes, but we will work on the admin report and we can have it to you for the first meeting in April.
June.
Or June, April. Yeah, that's today. Sorry.
See, the only concern I had that like with on that though was I was saying, because it's already attached to that posting, like, that's why I was saying, like, you can't just be like, okay, put it for sale because it's already like attached to postings.
So yeah, we need to have a
Yeah.
conversation and look at all the contributing factors.
So your worship, an admin report will be ready for the June 7th council meeting.
Sounds good. Great. Set.
Works for me, yeah.
So I have another housing-esque thing.
Okay.
Everyone, I'm sure everyone in this room is aware of this. I'm not sure that everyone in the gallery is aware of this. However, regarding the Housing First project that the Yukon government is planning to build on the old Lakeview apartment site. We have not had any feedback. We have not had any community consultation to the best of my knowledge. I would like, and I don't know if we need a motion for this, so let me know. But I would like to see us reach out to Yukon Housing and request that we be updated on that as soon as possible, because from what I understand, I can't remember where I heard this, but they're planning to break ground on that project this spring and summer, like construction it's been tendered, everything. So I'd like to get an update on that project as soon as possible. The next one I had AYC AGM dates on here, but the CA already addressed that. My other one is spring cleanup. I am wondering what our plan is for that. I know in the past we have authorized a free load of waste or whatever at the landfill, but another suggestion that was kind of brought up to me actually by a couple of people, which I tend to agree with, is at one point we did pick up of large unwanted items right from the residents. And I don't know if that's still a feasible reality for us, or if we can do that or the free garbage load, or if we can do a combination of both. But I just wanted to put that out there. And I also wanted to ask the question of like, what the plan is for that, when we're planning to do that, et cetera.
I think that if council made
Sorry.
I think that council made a PR donation to the grads, that the grads with a couple of trucks could go around and not take the town's.
For the large unwanted items?
Yeah, throw the couch.
I think that's an awesome idea.
You guys want
Great fundraiser.
You know what I mean? It helps everybody.
Yes.
Doesn't take pressure off staff, and we can load the couch.
Yes, so your worship, the plan from administration was to implement the month of June again.
Yep.
For the free load at the landfill.
Right.
Okay, and that would be the entire month? You have to bring your.
You have to bring your stuff to the landfill
Yeah.
because of the fact that it's a staffing issue for us. We're trying to deal with ditch mowing and all our other summer projects, so.
Thank you. And
Yeah.
that sounds like an awesome idea from the grads. Hopefully that can work out. And my last one is, I'll end on a positive note. I just wanted to remind everyone here and in the gallery that Thursday, April 7th is Green Shirt Day. So I just want to remind you all to wear your green shirt in honor of the Logan Boulet Effect and organ donation awareness and registration across Canada.
Thank you, Councillor Hanchar.
Thank you.
I remember making that.
So I wasn't sure if a proclamation is lifelong or if it's just for that one day. Because if it's
just the one day, we do it for the 7th. But
yeah, so I don't know if you do it every year, or is a proclamation like that's that day in this town forever is the day? How does that usually work?
I honestly don't worship, so there's something we can look into, but I believe the proclamation for a day is a proclamation for.
Ever?
You're set
Somebody-
the day of April 7th.
Somebody felt like sharing that on social media. It's obviously a cause that's near and dear to my heart. So I'd love to see that.
Yeah, your worship, I've got it noted here and for my staff to make sure it's loaded on our website and Facebook.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, anything from Councillor Open Forum? Anything else from councillors? Okay, good. I mean, not good, but thank you, everybody.
Had a lot today.
Yeah, we've been going and going and going. So, and we still have to go through our gallery open forum because this is a committee of the whole.
I can't read those, the comments.
I'll read the comments, your worship. So,
Sure.
Janice Carlson has no comments, thanking you. So Colleen Craft, I'll get this one. I would like to see the town crier back. There seems to still be some local disconnect in the community or in communicate. And I scrolled too far, sorry. Disconnect with communication in the community. The paper copies seem to be the best way to reach all community members. I appreciate the town of Watson Lake has the calendar that we are promoting. However, it does not reach everyone. Consideration for an opening date for the public service, municipal services building would be June 21st, and it could be coordinated with the First Nations Peoples Day. A whole community celebration for all regarding following bylaws. I appreciate that all mayor and council have bylaws within the community. However, I do not support that mayor and council get to support only certain bylaws within the community. All bylaws that this administration has in place need to be enforced as well, not only selected ones. I would support the cleanup of the trail system in Watson Lake. That would be awesome for a consultant to work towards a program within the community.
Sorry, may I ask again who that comment was from?
Colleen Craft.
Thank you.
No comments, your worship, from Corinne at the rec center. So that would leave.
There's more
It was
messages, I think.
unmuted.
Okay, hi Ruth.
There's another one at the bottom there.
No
Oh,
comments, no comment.
Or enough.
oh, okay, sorry. Thanks.
Hi, Ruth.
Hi.
Hi,
So
Ruth.
I do have a couple of things. I'm wondering when they're gonna have a town hall meeting again,
Okay,
if that's on the radar.
yeah,
And I just wanted to say on the chamber's behalf, they're doing a pierogi supper on Saturday. And there is a cost just to the supper, but we're doing it as a fundraiser for the Ukraine aid. So whatever money we collect will be going, and I think the government multiplies it by whatever. And so that's going to the Ukraine aid. And it
when,
also.
sorry Ruth, when and where is that?
Saturday, 6
Yeah.
o'clock at the seniors.
Okay, thank you.
And they're also doing a dessert auction, which is actually a fundraiser for the chamber. So, and it's not just dessert, there's other things going to be auctioned. We're hoping that we'll have a book, maybe of Terry's, that can be for an
Mhm.
auction item. And we'll just see how things go for whatever else is going to be there, but it's going to be a really good time.
Okay. Is that all?
Oh, one thing just about the cemetery thing is I was, and I did talk to a couple of the counselors, I think, on this, but we do need to see something for the traditional funerals.
Mhm.
And it would even include things like some want their graves dug. That's something that's very important. And I think that's something we can just, I mean, they let the person know who they're applying with, that this is how it needs to be done, and there can be some guidelines that way, but it's, some of the stuff is cultural and it should be considered.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I did mention that as well, Ruth. I think that's very important, and we'll seek some input on how we can support that.
Mhm.
Okay. Anything else? Do you want to advertise? No? Okay. Thank you, Ruth.
So your worship, the only other one on there is our community advisor, Michael Kraus.
Hi, Michael. Do you have any comments today?
Hi, everyone. None from me. Thanks very much again for having me.
Thank you very much, Michael. All right, well, that'll do it for our gallery open forum. We have nothing for in camera, so I'll ask for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
A second.
Councillor Hanchar and Councillor Burtis, all in favor. Adjourned. Thank you.